There's a story of a father, son, and a donkey who are walking through multiple villages to get to a market. As they pass through the first village, the father is riding the donkey while the son walks next to him. And the village people look at the father and think, what a cruel father for making his son walk while he rides on the donkey's back. So the father gets off the donkey and puts the son on the back of the donkey. And they walk through the next village on the way to the market. And all the people in that village look at the son. How dare the son ride on the donkey's back while his poor old father walks next to him? Both of them are a little confused. The dad got onto the donkey's back as well. And both the son and the dad walk through the next village on the donkey's back. And all the people started to scream out to the son and the dad, how cruel of both of you putting so much weight on that poor donkey's back. So the dad and son, a little unsure of what they should do, they both got off the donkey and they walked next to its side as they walked to the last village before the market. And as they did, all the people in the village looked at them and laughed and said, what fools, walking when they could be riding that donkey's back. The moral of the story is no matter what you do, you're going to be criticized. You may as well figure out what it is you want from life and what it is you would love to accomplish and pursue that. What I'm going to share in this video is going to be a mind-opening perspective. I'm going to share with you the mindset I wish I had when I first started trading 10 years ago. Now, if you haven't yet learned as a trader or as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, if you're doing anything different but what the herd is doing and individuals in society, you're going to attract some criticism. People are going to say some things about you and you're going to be challenged. And that's just part of the game. Having a way to deal with that and handle that to ensure you don't let that influence and stop you from doing something great with your life is crucial. And having perspective is a great way to ensure that you're not influenced by that, and to ensure that you can figure out what it is you would love to do and go off and pursue that. Now, from the perspective of the sun, and we were standing on the top of the sun looking back on Earth, you wouldn't even be able to see Earth. Earth is indistinguishable from that perspective. The sun is so far away, you can't even see Earth, let alone see you on Earth. So from the perspective of the sun looking back on us, we are nothing. We are indistinguishable. We can't even be seen. Now, from the micro perspective of the bacteria looking up at us, looking back at us, we are massive compared to that little bacteria. So from the perspective of the bacteria, we're everything. So we are both nothing and everything depending on the observer and depending on the perspective. Now, I can go through life on my mission dedicated to growing my trading psychology, education, and performance coaching business, master your trading mindset. I can be dedicated and focused to growing Telos Capital, my prop firm, and working with more and more traders, getting more and more traders funded, getting them profitable, getting their mindsets right. And that's what I do every day, all day. I'm dedicated to those two businesses and growing those. Now, me going off and living my mission and doing those action steps by an individual who's a trader like yourself or a business owner and is incredibly dedicated to mastering their psychology and getting funded and leveling up and personal development and becoming a consistently profitable trader, by me going off and being dedicated to my work, I am supporting the values of that individual because that individual is dedicated to trading and mindset. And that individual is going to perceive me in a positive way, in a positive light. And some of the comments and some of the messages I get, some of the language that's used is, you're a hero, you're helpful, you're hypnotic, you're extroverted, you're incredibly dedicated, you're a genius, you're incredibly generous with the information and the knowledge you give me. And by me going off and living my mission, because I'm supporting the values of that individual, they're going to label me that way. Very positive, very uplifting, very helpful, very generous, very intelligent. But simultaneously, me going off and living my mission and being dedicated to my work is simultaneously challenging the values of someone that has a different value system. Let's say, for example, a family member or a friend who has a very high value on family and socializing. And guess what? When I'm dedicated to building my businesses, I'm not putting my time and energy and effort in going out and socializing and doing all those things. So when I'm supporting the values of someone who has a high value on trading and business and psychology, I'm simultaneously challenging the values of someone that has a high value on family and social, for example. And I can go off and do that same action of being dedicated to my business, yet those people that I'm challenging the values of are going to call me a workaholic. They're going to call me annoying for probing and asking too many questions. They're going to label me boring and stingy, especially with my time. They're going to label me attacking them when I go and probe and ask them questions to figure out what's going on in their mind. They're going to label me introverted because I'm not socializing. Whereas I'm actually socializing on YouTube and with the thousands of traders in my community. That's my social life. And they're going to label me distant. Whereas my students and my thousands of traders all over the world are going to label me very close, very attentive. So my point here is I can go off and do what I do, and I can be perceived as positive or negative or anything in between based on whether I'm supporting or challenging the values of that individual observing me and perceiving me. So depending on the perceiver, I can be labeled good, bad, nice, mean, generous, stingy, helpful, unhelpful, positive, negative, introverted, extroverted, everything, nothing, and everything in between, depending on the observer. So you are positive, negative, the hero, the villain, generous, stingy, everything, nothing, and everything in between, depending on the observer, depending on whether you're supporting or challenging the values of the observer. So my suggestion is own it and love it all. Understand that you're a human being, you have two sides to yourself depending on the observer, and both sides are necessary to help you fulfill your mission. If you're dishonoring certain parts of yourself, you're not willing to own and love certain parts of yourself, and let's say, for example, I'm not willing to own the part that I'm stingy, then that's going to be a button. I'm going to be run by someone with a higher value on social and family than what I have, and they're going to label me stingy, and I'm going to feel guilty, and I'm going to try and attempt to live by lower values, socializing and hanging out with my family, as opposed to getting on with my mission. Whereas if I could own that and say, yeah, I am stingy. I'm stingy with my time to socializing. That's a low value to me. I'd much rather dedicate my time to socializing with my students and impacting my traders' lives and having that influence in their life. And I can see I'm generous over there. So if I didn't own and love that part of myself, that would be a button I'm run by. So my suggestion is own it and love it all. Otherwise, you're going to be run by what you think the opinions of others are, just like the son and the dad on the donkey back. Now, there have been many times through my trading journey where I've been influenced by people who had a different value system to me, and they were projecting their values onto me. Everybody is going to constantly project their own value system onto you. They're going to want you to do what they want to do. Nobody's going to wake up in the morning and dedicate their life to empowering you unless you incentivize them to. Most people are going to wake up in the morning and project their own stuff onto you. So what's crucial is you get clear on your mission. What's most important to you? There have been many times in my life where people told me, you should do this, you need to do this, you have to do this. And sometimes I listened, especially much early on in my journey. But then when I realized that that wasn't me, that wasn't authentic or true to me, and I got more and more clear on my mission, I got very good at saying thank you, but no thank you to the distractions, what I perceived as distractions because they weren't my mission. I also went through many different trading communities and studied under many different mentors. And at times, I really admired certain mentors and certain traders. And that was just as much of a distraction as the challengers and naysayers. Because what happened is I injected into my life and into my trading their way of trading, their trading strategy, their approach to the market, which wasn't necessarily congruent with how I like to perceive the market and my risk appetite and how I like to operate. Positive distractions, the admired traits, the infatuated traits can be just as much of a distraction as the negative naysayers and the challengers, if not more. And there have been many times where, especially early on in my journey, I found a strategy that worked really well for me. And then for many years, I was distracted trying to find something better and injecting different trading strategies based on different mentors I admired at times. But those were all distractions. It wasn't until I got clear on my mission, I got clear on my trading goals, my master plan, and my trading plan, how I love to trade, that I could say thank you, but no thank you to the distractions. Both the challengers, the criticizers, the naysayers, and the people supporting, in my perception, the ones I admired, the infatuated. I could say thank you, but no thank you to both. I'm clear on my mission. I know what I need to do. Now, that's not to say that at times what people were criticizing and challenging me about wasn't helpful, because at times it could humble my pride and it made me really make sure I was certain of what I was pursuing. And so too, I did learn from people I admire and take on certain bits and pieces, but instead of being in their shadow and blindly taking on board everything they said and did, I just took on board things that would help fulfill my mission. And it put me in a situation where to stand on their shoulders and learn from them as opposed to be run by them. There's a difference. So the most crucial step in this process is to get clear on your own goals, your own master plan, your own trading plan. Be data driven. Make sure you're making decisions and actions based on what the data shows is profitable or what the data shows is proven to work. And then you want to take your goals and your master plan and chunk them down into high priority daily action steps. So you have something tangible to do every day that's going to take you one step closer to achieving that goal. And then the only comparison you should be doing is comparing your daily action steps to your goals. Did I do today the action steps that's going to bring me one step closer to my goal? And if it's a yes, great job. You're congruent. If it's consistently a no for weeks and months, you want to reevaluate. Is this goal truly important to me? Have I found truly the highest priority action steps that's going to bring me closer to that? And chances are one or both of those answers are going to be no. Otherwise, you'd be doing the action steps. And then you want to focus on not looking left and right. You want to focus on your mission. Now that you're clear on your goals, your trading plan, your action steps, you want to focus on pursuing that. And don't let the challenges, the naysayers, or the heroes and those admired distract you from your mission. You can always learn from them, but don't be derailed from your mission. Opinions are the cheapest commodity on earth. It's so easy to have an opinion and to share that opinion. So don't let the opinions of other people influence you from accomplishing what you would love to do and getting clear on your master plan and pursuing that. That's been the most fulfilling thing in my life. I get paid to do what I love. I have an impact on people's lives. My audience is growing all around the world. I got traders all over the world. Knowing what I know now, looking back at my younger self, I'd be darned if I listened to those people who were just projecting their values onto me. So get clear on what you want, get clear on the action steps, and go off and pursue that. And don't let the opinions of other people distract you. Now, if you want to master your trading psychology, make sure you watch this video that's going to pop up on your screen. It's a 15-minute video. I'm going to show you how to bulletproof your trading mindset. It's a tool that thousands of traders all around the world swear by, and it's essential to have it in your back pocket if you want consistent profitability and if you want to scale up with funding without extra negative emotions.